Who's that coming down the track? Who's that coming down the track? It's a mean machine, red and black. It's a mean machine, red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land. And a drunk on nuts is Georgia Band. And a drunk on nuts is Georgia Band. Go, no!
What's up, y'all? This is John and Mike back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, on Millions and as a part of the Fans First Sports Network. This is another part of the Jackpot What Happened in 2007 series. I believe this is part 5. Believe?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, awesome. You know, we just recorded the episode about UCF that you guys heard the other day. But as bad as my memory is, it's batting like 2 for 3 right now in the last half hour or so. So
You pass all your cognitive tests, you could run for president.
hell yeah. I don't want the job, but I feel like not wanting the job should be one of the prerequisites for having the job. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
this is an election year, but we're not talking politics except for in November, vote yes to legalize sports gambling in the state of Georgia. That's the amount of politics we're talking on this show.
Vote as many times as you can.
Yeah, some districts is easier than others to vote multiple times. Damn it, I said we weren't talking politics. Shit.
Legalize everything. Anyway.
But as I said, this is part 5. We've done a couple combo episodes, but tonight we are getting into week 7. We didn't really get into a lot of how you been, what are you drinking, so we'll jump into that for a minute.
I've been good. Just in the middle of summer, this comes out 4th of July or day before 4th of July, whatever it is, whenever you're listening to this.
Oh, this does come out 4th of July. Happy America Day, bitches.
Hell yeah. The fuck is a kilometer?
Damn it, I had that audio saved. I don't think it's on the soundboard anymore.
Oh, damn it.
Hold on, let's see if I can add it. Keep going.
Yeah, but no, it's the middle of summer, man. It's awesome. This is why I'm a teacher, so I don't have to work. And just get fucked up like almost every day, so it's cool. How about you?
Doing all right, man. I kind of talked about it in the last episode, but and I understand this is a white trash name for it. I legitimately don't know what else to call it. The fart fan in my bathroom, well, in the guest bathroom, quit working recently, and almost immediately we started getting mold growing on the ceiling, so I had to take care of that this morning.
Okay.
Took care of the ceiling, replaced the fart fan. And if you guys have a name for it that is more not trashy to call it, please let me know.
I just call it the fan. I just call it the fan.
I legitimately, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I heard my parents calling it the fart fan. That's what I've always called it. I don't know what else to call it. Please let me know if you know something different.
I feel like we've talked about this before. Like this has come up at some point.
I think it has.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just deja vu. I don't know.
But replace that today. Fun fact, when you own a house from the early 1970s, to replace it, you have to go into the attic. Another fun fact, in late June in Savannah, it doesn't matter what time you get up into the attic. It's always terrible. So I got up a little late this morning watching the fight last night. Shout out Alex Pereira for another fucking knockout. There's a reason that in his nickname in his native language is Hands of Stone. Just yeah.
Damn.
Dude's from an Amazonian tribe, and in his native language, his fight nickname is Hands of Stone. I don't know if he has won a fight in the UFC without knocking the other person out, but was up late last night watching that. Woke up late this morning. Still did the work in the attic. And by the time I got done, the shirt I was wearing was an entirely different color. and then went out and played disc golf on Tybee. By the time I got done with that, my next shirt was an entirely different color. So when a friend said, "Hey, dude, come hang out at the pool when you get home," I drove the 2 minutes as soon as I got home and went and sat in the pool and drank beer until I needed to come record here. So, you
There
know,
you go.
I have either been in an oven or drinking since almost 12 hours ago. So it's a good time.
Hell yeah. Hey, y'all need to come out to the pool at some point. I'll be the first one to say it's not refreshing. It's bath water, but
I,
still pool.
I'm in the minority here. I know I am. I prefer a pool in the bathwater zone. So I prefer a pool in the bathwater zone or ice bath zone. But
Yes.
don't don't give me like an 80-degree pool. Don't give me a 70-degree pool. I want it 55 or 95.
Dude, I hadn't swam in like super, super cold water until we were up in Michigan. I guess now it's about a week and a half ago when y'all are listening. But we swam in Lake Michigan for like, parts of 3 days. And like on the app, it said it was like 55 degrees or something like that. I mean, it was, a little bit, startling to get into it. But like once we were in it, like that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I may have talked about it on the show right after it happened, but last like late
Like Huron,
October,
Lake Huron. I think I said like Michigan, Lake Huron. Different Great Lakes.
last October, November timeframe, a friend of mine invited me out on his boat and I went swimming off the boat in one of the rivers around Savannah. And when you first get in, you can't breathe,
Yeah.
but immediately you're like, "Oh, this is great."
Hmm.
But don't, it's got to be at most 60 degrees or at least 90 degrees. Don't give me anything in between.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I
Hmm.
don't. I want
Yeah.
it to feel like a bath or an ice bath.
So our pool is perfect then. That's about right.
Yes. Um. Probably should have talked about this before we started recording. But what are you guys doing this weekend?
No, nothing that I know of.
All right, cool. We'll get together off air because I actually before we even started recording today, I texted Kelsey and I was like, we don't have plans next weekend, do we?
Mm,
I was like, we need to go see Mike and Jen and the kids this weekend.
yeah.
So so
Hmm.
probably this weekend. Probably
Yeah,
this
yeah, that
weekend.
sounds good. We were supposed to have a cookout at the community pool, but the whatever committee, I can't remember what they called it, social committee or whatever, they broke up and disbanded. So now there's
Hell
nothing like
yeah.
we used to
Love
have.
HOA drama.
It's so much all the time. It's very entertaining. Like our community Facebook group is the fucking best. I
I,
Everybody wants to fight each other. It's very fun.
I had
Um,
to mute our neighborhood Facebook group and then like whatever setting it is on Facebook to see less posts. I did that for the rest of the island Facebook group that for the island I live on
yeah.
because it's just like this person's dog won't stop barking. This person parked in a wrong spot at Kroger. I'm like, man, like I'm here for yard sales, free shit, and like,
Yeah.
hey, we're dumb and bought $1,000 worth of fireworks at this address. Come see us this weekend. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for.
Dude, there was a before we get into the the college football, the week 7 stuff or whatever, one of the last things that I had saw before we went on our vacation was that this guy had posted a picture of his front lawn and there's a big old, yellow, piss stained spot on his lawn. And he had said, "You people walking your dogs need to be more considerate." And I said, "I always bring a diaper or a bowl for my dog to piss in when I walk her." And he deleted his shit and got off forever. So
What you should have done is said, "My bad. I was walking this morning and couldn't hold it anymore."
stop making your lawn so fucking inviting to piss on,
I,
and then that won't happen.
there's a guy that, and I know we're way off topic, and like I said, I've been consistently drinking for almost 12 hours now. Is what it is. But there's a guy half a mile from me in my neighborhood that has signs every 15 feet in his yard that says, "Do not walk in the grass." and I
Yeah.
want to so bad. I do.
What you can do about it?
I really do. And his front yard looks like a fucking golf course. Not no no like
Okay.
there's no lie about it. Whatever he's done, immaculate, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like as far as
Mm,
yards go, it's beautiful.
mm,
But just because you put the signs up, I want to so bad.
yeah.
Like I just
Stick.
maybe I have a problem with authority. Maybe I'm a bit of an asshole. I don't really know. Um, but I still want to so bad.
Just take a big old steamy shit on his lawn. That would be fun.
No, I just want to walk on it to leave footprints and then maybe pee.
Take a dump on it, but have like bring your dog with you to like step around it. Like, oh my god, what kind of fucking dog did this?
To be fair, I think because I have three big dogs, I'm pretty sure they all take as big a shits as I do.
Hell, hell yeah.
All right, guys, we are
Speaking of shit,
way
no I'm kidding.
we are way too wild. Maybe not wild, but way too off topic on this one. Um, but 2007, week 7,
Yeah.
we're gonna go over the poll real quick. LSU number 1 overall took all the first place votes. Number 2, Cal. Um, that is UC Berkeley.
Yep.
The Cal Golden Bears, whatever else you want to call them, the team that has been ranked seldomly since. And
Mm.
then number 3, we had Ohio State University. Moving up to number 4, Boston College. So I was incorrect last week when I assumed that because they beat a group of 5 team by less than 50 points, they would move down. At number,
They kept saying Matt Ryan was a Heisman candidate, which he was. Like,
he
but
was.
we'll get to it. But it yeah. Okay.
To be
Anyway.
a Heisman candidate in the late 2000s, you had to just throw more touchdowns than interceptions and not be a liability in all
Hmm.
reality and be on a
Yeah.
team that won a lot of games.
Yep.
Um, Number 5, we had the University of what I like to say is West Florida, but they call it South Florida. Number 6, Oklahoma. 7, South Carolina. 8, West Virginia. 9, Oregon. Dropping all the way down to 10, USC. Thrill USC. Number
Yep.
11 was Mizzou. 12, Virginia Tech. 13, Florida. 14, Arizona State. 15, Cincinnati. 16, Hawaii. 17, Kentucky. 18, Illinois. 19, Wisconsin, and that is coming from number 5, like we talked about last week, losing to Illinois, the Fighting Ron Zooks. 20, Kansas. 21, Florida State. 22, Auburn. 23, Texas. 24, Georgia. And 25, Tennessee.
Who did Georgia lose to the week prior?
Tennessee.
Or, oh, okay. And they're still ahead of Tennessee. That's crazy. Okay.
If there's one thing I hope you guys take from this series we're doing, it's something that we're learning as well. 2007 rankings barely mean anything, simultaneously mean everything.
Hmm.
And then, third, they make zero sense.
Right.
Um,
And I think next week I want to say like starting week 8, they started having the BCS rankings, kind of like how we do this college football playoff rankings.
right.
So I mean, going from there, we'll use the computer shit. I think that's when they start.
If we can find the week by week, I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, where I got this, I'm pretty sure they have the BCS one too. I think.
Cool. Yeah, because as much as we love the college football playoff and how it gives more teams opportunities because teams get hot at the end of the year, I do know enough about 2007 that being hot at the end of the year is one of the things that in 2007 started the conversation for a multi-team playoff. But a computer poll with a multi-team playoff seems to be one of the things that would answer all the questions.
Hmm.
And shout out to the Twitter account that somehow got the algorithm for the BCS computer program and puts out rankings
Yeah.
most weeks during the college football season. Um, if we can find it, we will mention it in the next episode. But
Yeah.
I don't Twitter, so
It's probably for the best.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm
but
angry about it. You know,
yeah. Um, so I mean, I had to put a question in here about this. Like the top eight that you read off. What if that was the top eight today? Like, what the fuck would have had to happen for Cal, Boston College, South Florida, and South Carolina, and West Virginia for that matter, to be in the top fucking eight?
well, I can tell you if we're saying this top eight, like these rankings, these names of teams with the current teams they have, it would be LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, West Virginia are the only teams with a chance.
Yeah. Mhm. It's wild seeing those different uniforms and colors at the top of the poll. Again, week by week, this shit's gonna change dramatically, but yeah, a radically different top 25 than we have seen even in the last like 7 8 year playoff era. This yeah.
For sure.
Um, all right. So let's go ahead and get into Georgia and Vandy. So Georgia, like you mentioned, number 24 in the country at Vanderbilt in Nashville. Georgia won 20-17 on a last second field goal in front of 39,000 at night in
Packed
Nashville.
stadium. Packed. Full
Escapes. No,
capacity.
nobody leaves
Nash
whatever.
Vegas.
Yeah, no one leaves the same. You leave a part of your body and soul in that stadium.
I thought it
Um,
was left a part of your liver.
that too. But it's probably part of your soul. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe.
Um, but Georgia was actually down 17-7 at halftime. Matt Stafford, he was 16 of 31 for 201 yards and a touchdown. So he first time against a Power Five opponent that he had more than 200 yards. So shout out Matt. Um, but this game is really about No Sean Moreno. 28 carries, 157 yards. Thomas Brown is again out of the equation at this point with his knee injury and kneeling that you guys talked about last week.
Collarbone.
Uh, or collarbone. I'm knees and kneeling. I just go hand in hand.
It does.
Um, but I mean, Vandy pretty much had all the same stats as Georgia in this game. Just Georgia just had more talented players. But this time Vandy was much better in 2007 versus like where they are now. I think 2 or 3 weeks prior to this, they lost to Bama, I think by 3 as well, or maybe 4. And then again lost to Georgia by 3 in this game as well. But and I thought for a while, like until like I watched this game, I thought Vandy had Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was like the year before.
I thought he was a year after for a minute.
No, because I think before this game, he came out there for like a pregame ceremony or something like that when I was watching like the college football final highlights with Lou Holtz and Mark May and Reese Davis and all that. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure he came out there before like this game.
Vandy regularly has sneaky good quarterbacks between
Yeah.
Jay Cutler, um, Jordan Rogers, Mike Wright,
Yep.
Kyle Shermer
Yeah.
is as you know non-existent as he's been in the NFL. Owns most of the Vandy passing records,
Yeah.
and just gonna throw this out there. If Vandy was better at offensive line primarily
Mm.
for the better part of the last 20 years, they could have been dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get thick boys to come play at your school when you have the standards Vandy does.
Mm. Ridiculous. Do you have anything else about this game?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is Georgia Vandy. Uh, We won. That's all that matters. Especially at this point. Um, I'm sure if you're a fan at this point or around at this point, you're getting your lawn signs ready for Mark Rick and putting it in his lawn saying, house for sale because you've already lost 2 games. You almost lost to Vandy. If not for, last second field goal to win in regulation. So yeah, it's tough, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go to next game. So number one, LSU went to number 17, Kentucky, so played in Lexington. Huge upset. Huge upset. Fun as hell game to watch. Kentucky won 43-37 in overtime. Kentucky quarterback Andre Woodson had a pretty pedestrian game by his standards. I mean, he was incredible all year. He was one of my favorite non-Georgia Michigan quarterbacks I can remember growing up. But he was 21 of 38 for 250 yards, three touchdowns, and two interceptions. His NCAA record for pass attempts without an interception was snapped. That I didn't when I was again watching the highlights for it. They didn't say how many pass attempts that he had, but his record was broken. I don't know if it still stands today, or I mean his streak was snapped. I don't know if his record still stands today, but it might. Because I think it was well over 200 and something pass attempts. Um,
I'm looking
but
it
again,
up
he had
now.
yeah. So yeah, he had a decent game. His wide receiver Stevie Johnson, who played in the NFL for a long time, he had 7 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown. He had a nice grab in this game too. LSU quarterback Matt Flynn was fucking atrocious. Again, another reason for me to
Hey,
be just
don't
mad
you
at
talk
him.
about him like that.
He hate Matt Flynn.
I know you do.
I hate him.
But as a somewhat like arm's length Green Bay fan, I love Matt Flynn.
He cost the Lions a division 10
That's
years prior.
why do you think that he holds a dear place in my heart?
It's fair. It's very fair. Um, God, fuck Matt Flynn. Anyway, but he was awful, just like most of the rest of his career, unless he's playing the Lions. Um, he was 17 of 35 for 130 yards. He had one touchdown, which was a nice back shoulder fade to take a 10-point lead. And he did have a pick in this game. Flynn's wide receivers had about five just like inexcusable drops in this game that ultimately cost them. I mean, even like I think like two or three in the fourth quarter where I mean, he just had them wide ass open, like Arian Smith against Ohio State open. And it just fell short or they dropped it. And it was just disgusting. But just yeah, again, about five awful drops that cost them this game. LSU missed the game-winning field goal to end regulation, so they could have ended it before overtime. It was like a 50-yard field goal, so like it's not that egregious that they missed it, but they still missed a game tying or game-winning field goal to avoid overtime. Then Kentucky scored a go-ahead touchdown in overtime, and then when it was their turn to get the ball in overtime, elected to run a running back dive on fourth and short and got stuffed, and just field rush, fireworks going off. The undisputed number one team in the country got knocked off by uh, a very good Kentucky team.
So it took some digging, but I discovered the most consecutive passes without an interception current record. It is held by Colby Cameron of Louisiana Tech, 2011 2012, by Colby Cameron. And
How many?
that's
Yeah, how many attempts was it?
444.
Golly, I was about to poo poo that, but good God. Okay.
Yeah, that took a legitimate 10 minutes of digging.
Yeah.
Maybe not 10. Maybe not 10. But
Longer than looking up stats online should take.
correct. If I Google one very specific stat, it should be easy to find.
Right.
Should be.
Especially an NCAA record, right?
Right. Wikipedia made me scroll about 312 pages down.
But do you have any other thoughts about this game?
The only thoughts I have is if you don't remember this game, haven't watched this game, go back and watch it. I watched some
Yeah.
highlights. I do intend on going back and watching this full game. Um, but the highlights that I watched were a ton of fun to go back and look at. I mean, 2007 offenses were just wildly different from today. And I mean, I know it's been at this point 17 years almost,
Mm,
but the amount of points they could score with almost entirely running the ball was a lot of fun. It
yeah.
really was.
Hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to the next one. So number 7, South Carolina went to Chapel Hill to play the North Carolina. Was it Butch Davis? I think it was Butch Davis. Yeah.
In the
Um,
middle of the season, which is really interesting.
yeah. I mean, like dead middle of the season, having a power. I guess. Well, I guess it's still Power Five at that point. A Power Five, out of conference opponent's kind of wild, unless you're Notre Dame. But again, neither team, well, neither team definitively not Notre Dame. Anyway, this was Spurrier's first game in Chapel Hill since he was the Duke head coach in 1989, which is still wild to think that he was at Duke and had success there, but he did.
Right.
South Carolina missed the game clinching field goal with 40 seconds left to keep the game at 21-15. Uh, North Carolina quarterback TJ Yates, former Falcons backup and former Texans backup or whatever. I think he started a little bit there too, but
Wait,
TJ
hold
Yates,
up. TJ Yates was in college at this point.
yeah, yeah.
God, he seems so much older than I remember.
I was gonna say, Mike. Oh, yeah, he's old. I thought he just left the league and like he was like a flash in the pan thing, but no, this is a while ago.
If you
Uh,
would have asked me when I thought he went to college, I would have thought it was the same time Aaron Murray did. Minimum.
right, yeah. But he threw a Hail Mary as time expired. It was caught by one of the UNC receivers at the 1 yard line, but that whoever South Carolina had out there defending it was able to like tackle him like at like the half-inch line. Like he almost got in the end zone, just fell into it. They kept him out, which was a tough way to lose for North Carolina to get again within inches of tying it and then kicking the game-winning extra point. So North Carolina did North Carolina things in football, at least
Unless they're playing App State, then they find a way to win these type of games.
somehow, inexplicably. Yeah. Uh,
Sometimes it's a terrible pass interference call. You know,
mhm.
just I'm gonna stop there. I could go on a very long rant about that call.
Yeah. Um, I mean, that game, besides for the ending or the last like 2 minutes, like it, nothing of note really. Just it was just again weird to see North Carolina and South Carolina play each other at this point in the year. Um, Next up, number 22 Auburn went to Arkansas, unranked Arkansas. Coming off the upset win over Florida in the Swamp, Auburn beat the Hogs 9-7.
In a phenomenally offensive, you know, just juggernaut of a game.
The offense was offensive for both teams,
Yep.
truly.
Yep.
So Auburn hit. So just to go over the scoring just a little bit, or lack thereof. Auburn hit a field goal with 8:48 remaining in the first quarter, and neither team scored again until 10:11 left in the fourth.
You
Wait
know,
a 2 full quarters without scoring.
the only game that reminds me of is when Georgia beat Missouri 9-6.
Yeah. Ugh.
And, you know, shout out Kelsey. Um, and as a matter of fact, her brother Alan, because he was a senior in high school. I was trying to get in good with the family. Georgia game was on, and I was like, you know what? We should really go to your brother's last marching band competition of his high school career instead of watching the Georgia game. And I watched 0 seconds of that game. I feel like I saved
That was a
myself.
good call. You really did. That was a good call because you would have probably had a fucking heart attack. Uh, yeah, that was awful. um, yeah, but so like I said, you real like in this game as well, along with the North Carolina and South Carolina game, you really only needed to watch the last like 2.5 minutes of this game. With a minute 36 left, Arkansas quarterback Casey Dick.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
yeah, guys being dudes. I don't. Maybe that was a nickname. I don't know if that was really his name,
It doesn't
but
matter.
Casey Dick. I have all in caps. I hit Lucas Miller with the go-ahead 12-yard touchdown. for Arkansas, their only touchdown in the game. Auburn drove 50 yards in 8 plays to hit the game-winning field goal with 21 seconds left. Arkansas had less than 200 total yards, and that's with Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. I think they combined for like 80 yards between the two of them, but McFadden only had 42 yards in this game. But something that Iowa would be very proud of. You know how many combined punting yards these teams had?
For Iowa to be proud, it has to be over 400.
Yeah, 559 combined punt yards between these two teams. I'm here for the punter.
You know, we've already talked tonight about how difficult it is to look up NCAA records.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be one.
Yeah, it's got to be up there. And there wasn't real. I think there was one turnover in this game, so like it was all punts.
Hawkeye
Literally
Nation.
every drive except one ended in a kick.
Hawkeye Nation, let's ride.
Yeah, but Auburn again escaped yet again 9-7, just all field goals. Speaking of Iowa, this is disgusting as well. Iowa went to number 18 Illinois. Iowa won 10-6. So you know what? I guess that's just the same amount of points, right? Just yeah, 16 points total combined. Last two games we talked about. But
That's
yeah, Iowa.
close.
It really is. But it wasn't like all that uncommon at this point. And then the very last game we're going to talk about, just for a second, the duality of like teams at this point is just crazy. How you can have 10-6 or 9-7 games, and then have a game that's like 69-67 in the same week. Go figure.
Give me that 69 game.
Right here.
I was going to leave it at that.
On Zoom. Okay. Anyway,
E69, if you will.
All right. So with this game, so again, Iowa won 10-6. Illinois was up 6-3 until Iowa threw a touchdown with 6 seconds left.
Whoa. Iowa
Yeah,
passes the
touchdown.
ball and gets touchdowns?
Dude, Kirk Ferentz, a young, spry Kirk Ferentz at this point, in his like 8th year of coaching at Iowa, would have been so proud. Or no, upset that they threw the ball. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Wait, was it a tight end that caught the pass?
That I couldn't find. The
Okay.
ESPN,
Okay.
they just had like the game cast thing. I didn't see any stats for this game.
ESPN, I know it's been 17 years, but you guys should do better.
Mhm. And one thing, I don't know if you and Wes talked about that or me and you talked about that, but well, actually, hold on, I'll get to that in a second. So in this game, we talked about 559 yards in the Auburn Arkansas game for total punt yards between the two teams. This game only had 250 total punt yards, which
I thought you were going to say total yards of offense.
it probably could have been close to that. Well, I don't know. See, now the thing is, like, it didn't look like they had that many turnovers or anything like that in this game. So, like, I don't know what happened. I wish I did, because that would have been.
If it was only 250 punt yards, Iowa is very disappointed. Honestly, this guy can really never eat wheat or corn again, or whatever Iowa's good for.
They can't. They
wrestling.
That's true. Wrestling and eating corn the long way. But I don't. One thing that we haven't really talked about yet is Illinois quarterback Juice Williams. I don't know how. I know you probably weren't super in tune with Illinois football, because who the fuck would be? But Juice Williams is probably on like the Illinois like Mount Rushmore of like football players. Him and like Dick Butkus are up there. He was incredible. I mean, this year he was good. Not so much this game. I guess I didn't put it here, but he didn't. I mean, he didn't have that good of a game, obviously, because it was 10-6. But in 2008, so the following year, he broke the Michigan Stadium record for most total yards by an opposing player at 431. He had like 4 touchdowns. He had 310 yards passing, 121 yards rushing, and that's really, whenever Illinois talks about like beating Michigan, like that's like the one time I can ever remember them doing it. He was ridiculous. Like they went on Uh, was it that year? Oh, I thought I put it in here. I can't remember if it was 2007 or 2008 that Illinois went to the Rose Bowl. I think it was this.
I think it was '08. From the
Yeah,
research I did on Juice Williams for the last episode of um, where ESPN just had no quarterback stats for them beating number 5 Wisconsin.
it was the same thing here too. I had to go and look at Juice Williams' stats on Wikipedia
You
because
know
they didn't
what?
have.
Please, please, someone find Juice Williams and ask him to come on the show because we would
Why do you
love to
hate
talk to
ESPN?
him
Why does
about
ESPN hate you?
what legitimately because you know this may burn some bridges in the future. You know what? I'll ask you before I say this. Should I say this? I know. I think you know what I'm about to say. Should I say it?
Say it.
So last year we were communicating with ESPN for months about
Mm,
getting a rules official on the show to um, talk about changes in college football, right? From like March to July, regularly emailing back and forth with their, I guess their like media coordinator about, like if we had a preference of what person, this, that, and the other,
mm,
communicating back and forth for a while. Um, and then I guess just how much I talk shit about ESPN from the draft until when they said that their rules officials were like kind of back on duty, if you will. Um, Once it got time to actually schedule it, ghosted. So,
right.
so that's a large part of the beef with ESPN that I have. Um, Especially because I know from other people in the, I guess we would call ourselves media or journalists at this point, industry, that
Yeah.
the person I was talking to still definitely works in that position at ESPN
Yeah.
and just, I guess, listened to some of our episodes and realized that we called them out on their dumb shit.
Mm,
Um, so that's the reason that we didn't have a rules official on last year to talk about the changes in college football. Um,
yeah.
that's my personal beef with ESPN. So I agree
Yeah.
with you, Juice. If you hear this,
I
come on,
I
talk to
so
us.
I okay, so I found him on Twitter. His pinned tweet is them in the Rose Bowl, but he's super successful outside of football.
Good
Uh,
for him.
he's president and CEO of his own company. Looks, I mean, he's doing man's doing well. Um, well, we can try to craft this afterward, but I don't even know how to begin asking him if he wants to come on. Like, what the hell we would talk about besides just ESPN hating him? But we'll figure it out at some point. Um, my mouse died, so I can't really scroll down much past this one. But oh,
I
never mind.
got you.
I'm falling back.
Whenever you finish the Iowa Illinois game, I got you.
Oh no, yeah, no, I was able to get it back up. It
Okay.
reconnected. All right. Yeah, I had one other note in here about Illinois running back Rashard Mendenhall. I think he played for the Lions too. But he was really good until
He
I think he tore
was
his was he on the Lions or was he on the Steelers? I think he was on the
for some
Steelers.
for some reason I want to say Steelers or Pat.
He might have been on both of those. No, I'm thinking of I was thinking of somebody else for the Lions, but yeah, Rashard Mendenhall. I think he played for the Steelers, and I think he won the Super Bowl with them.
I can tell you Steelers, Steelers and Cardinals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. I remember. Yeah, I think I was thinking of Mikel LeSure or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was another Illinois running back from that Ron Zook era. Anyway, more important things. So number sorry, next game. So number 11 Missouri went to number 6 Oklahoma. Oklahoma won 41-31 in Norman. Sam Bradford, guy we've talked about a lot. He was 24 of 34 for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns. So kind of a mid game for him in terms of just all of his stat padding and whatnot that he did in Oklahoma. Chase Daniel, certified dog, 37 of 47, 361 yards, a touchdown. He did have 2 picks, which were kind of costly for them. Uh, Chase, some background about them, because I mean we'll talk about Missouri a little bit more in this series, but uh, Chase Daniel was an All-American this year and still went undrafted. Um, Arguably had a better NFL career than Sam Bradford. Not so much money wise, of course. The Sam Bradford made like $200 million and just was just made of glass, never really played because he kept getting
I,
injured.
dude, if you could make my bones of glass and just hit me with a hammer every day for $200 million, probably take it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know if he had any head injuries. I'm sure he did, but Chase Daniel, again, we've talked about it several times. That man lived the American dream of just being a backup and making tens of millions of dollars in the NFL and not really taking very many hits. So Chase Daniel won the game of life even more so than Sam Bradford.
One of our heroes, if you will.
Mm,
If this may be a conversation for next off season, but like Mount Rushmore of guys you would like to be.
yes. Chase Daniels might be 1-1.
It might be.
Yeah. Um, but Going back to the game though, Oklahoma running back Chris Brown ran it for 63 yards and 3 touchdowns. Before all the drama with him and
I
Rihanna. But
I was I'm so glad we think so similarly because I was about to just say I am going to recuse myself of the Rihanna jokes.
he, he you know what? Never mind. You know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it.
I will say it. It's a little creepy of the Rihanna side of things of how young he was compared to her during that relationship. Just gonna throw it out there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just
Music industry, not clean.
ask P Diddy.
Yep. Take that. Take that. Uh, um, but Anyway, Oklahoma went on for they had a couple of 2 point conversions that they went for some reason that again the broadcast was super confused about too. Didn't convert in any of them, so it was a closer game than it probably should have been. Should have been a 14-point game. Missouri running back Jeremy Maclin, he had 2 touchdowns, but he had a fumble that led to a scoop and score for Oklahoma. And oddly enough, I'm pretty sure this is the last defensive touchdown Oklahoma had until the Rose Bowl against Georgia.
I would buy that. Yeah.
It seems right. I don't.
Like
I it, but my feelings don't care about facts.
yeah, without doing literally a millisecond of research, I believe it. Yeah, I buy it. We'll go with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Alternative
Uh,
facts, if you will.
yeah. 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 Um, or maybe I'm misremembering it. I don't know. But Missouri had after this or including this game, Missouri lost 17 straight games to Oklahoma. Do the research outside of this, but it's a lot
Wait,
of
doing
games in a
your
row
own
to lose.
research is not part of the democratic American way.
I just need somebody just to tell me what to think. Blindly, I'll trust you. Uh, but Missouri, including this game, they lost 17 in a row to Oklahoma, so not great. So they're going to renew this rivalry. I think this year. I think they play each other this year. So that's
Let's
cool.
hope so.
Yeah. All right. Next up, another Big 12 game. Baylor at number 20, Kansas. Kansas won 58-10. Um, and we've talked about Kansas a little bit in here. And I tried to look at Kansas a little bit more. Kansas has nobody of note on this roster. Like, there's not one soul on this roster that recorded any stats this year that you would know. I don't know. I tried. They didn't recognize anybody. So for them to be as good as they were this year and not have like any names, like even vaguely remember, is a testament to Mark Mangino.
I really think that's just a state of Kansas thing because even Kansas State teams at the time
Yeah.
were the Kansas State teams at the time that were notable, the same thing.
Yeah. Um, Kansas only had 447 total yards of offense, and they still scored 58 points. It was more so Baylor having 5 turnovers and just being inopportune with it. But yeah,
Oh
Kansas,
yeah.
yeah, Kansas, good Kansas, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, or whatever. Um,
All
Last
right.
couple here.
All right.
Oh,
This could be because I've drank a lot today, but I would love for someone to explain Rock Chalk Jayhawk to me. And I'll just leave it at that.
No idea what that
We
means.
don't even have to talk about it anymore. I would just love for someone to explain that to me because I truly do not understand. And
The
I
Big
don't
12 had some stupid sayings like boomer sooner, whatever I mean, I know it's a wagon, but what does the boomer part of that mean? I don't know.
I legitimately do not understand and I do not care enough to do the research. So I would love for someone to send us a message on any of our social media. Hell, our Gmail, nothingfinerpod at Gmail. Someone inform me of what the hell the Big 12 is doing with their like slogans. Is
Yeah.
that the way to put it? I don't get it. I
Give a
don't think
chance.
most people
There's
get
yeah.
it. Yeah, chance. I don't think
Gig
anybody
'em.
gets it.
Gig 'em.
Yeah, like I
What?
what the hell?
The fuck's a yell leader? You mean a cheerleader? A male cheerleader? Is
I,
that what you mean?
Look, Colts are weird, dude.
Yeah. Big 12, all those Colts just came over to the SEC. Well, not Kansas yet, I guess, but eventually, I'm sure. Um, anyway, so number 16, Hawaii at San Jose State. Hawaii won in overtime, 42-35. There's not really anything to note in that one.
I mean,
Oregon State.
just
Oh, go ahead.
based on the AP poll, they've got to drop like 10 spots.
Hmm. Yeah, they might not
That
be ranked next week. Who knows? You have to wait and see.
that I mean, judging by the way they've ranked Hawaii, they'll probably actually go up in the rankings due to this game. But by the way they've ranked everybody else, they should just be out of the poll.
Hmm. It's fair. Uh, I think it was Colt Brennan at that time, right?
I don't know, but I would just assume that the Tourism Board of Hawaii just sent an email to all the AP poll voters and said, if we finish this season in the top 10, free trip to Hawaii.
It may have, I mean, fuck, I could be bought if I was a voter. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. If we ever get some sort of vote for anything, I can be bought.
Hmm.
It's got to be significant. Like you're not going to slide me a 20 for me to do
Right.
something stupid. But
Mm.
like free trip to Hawaii, 1 in 5 Hawaii's getting my number one vote. I do not care.
Yeah.
Like a quarterback at Hawaii or hell, even like Boise State. I'd love to go get an elk hunting trip in Idaho.
That'd be dope.
Boise State quarterback with more interceptions and touchdown. He's getting my number one Heisman vote if we ever get there.
Yeah.
Just putting that
Duh.
out in the internet.
Maybe it'll come true. Uh,
Crossing my fingers.
all right. So then, Oregon State at number 2, Cal. The Beavers.
Gotta love the
They
Beavers.
gotta love. I mean, who doesn't love Beavers?
I I don't know. I do know a few guys, but not many.
Um, the Beavers beat the Bears. Um, that's kind of another weird reference, but it's kind of abstract. Never mind. But yeah, they won. Oregon State beat Cal 31-28. It was kind of a wild game. I mean, it was definitely a Pac-12 or Pac-10 at the time after dark vibe to it. Cal drove the length of the field down 31-28 with about a minute. I'm sorry, in about a minute, down to the 15, to try to kick the game tying field goal or even try to win it in regulation with a touchdown. Their quarterback, who I could not find his name, I didn't really care to look for it because it was at this point it doesn't matter what Cal does anymore because they lost. But instead of trying to throw it away under pressure with no timeouts, he decided just to scramble and run for 2 yards with I think it was like 6 seconds left. So again, the problem was they had no timeouts and they couldn't get set in time to spike it or do the fire drill field goal like TCU. So they ended up losing, just like getting down to the Oregon State 15-yard line, down 3, and not being able to kick a field goal to tie it up, and they lost. So, and Cal hasn't recovered since. So the game
The
was very
curse
back
of
and forth.
number two, like we talked about last week,
Yep.
is
USC, now Cal. Yep.
especially West Coast teams, but also, way off topic. As someone that works in fire protection, fire drill field goal is not the way that we need to say this because once you get out of school, no one reacts to fire drills. not a
We
single
don't
human
really
being.
we don't really respond to them in school either.
Okay, so no one reacts to fire drills. Let's call
Yeah,
it something else. Let's call it like free pub sub drill, or
hell yeah.
like cheap gas drill. Because if you say, "Hey, Kroger, a couple miles away, has $1.50 gas," every single person's leaving the house right then.
Mhm.
But if you say, "Oh, the fire alarm's going off," most people are putting headphones in. Let's come up with a
Yeah,
new name.
yeah. I'll leave if the house is actually on fire. Yeah, maybe. Um, yeah, but yeah. So Cal ended up losing that, and then became irrelevant the rest of the year. Next
For the
game,
rest of eternity.
yeah, right. Um, it really was. Next game, UCF at South Florida, the war on I-4. Um, the South Florida won 64-12. Again, nothing of note in this game. Reese Davis in the college football final, thing I watched on YouTube. He called USF quarterback Matt Grothy. I can't. It doesn't matter.
How does that
Um,
math? Okay.
yeah, it was one of the two. But Reese called him the second coming of Doug Flutie because he was a white dual threat quarterback. I think that's really the only thing they had in common.
So
Um,
like so so most people in the college football sports landscape calling any black quarterback that can run the football Cam Newton.
yeah, and now, yeah, because like who was a white mobile quarterback besides Doug Flutie prior? I mean, Steve. I guess I don't know if Steve Young was the same time or not, but not very many. Not in college.
You
That I
know,
can think of. I could be
here
totally
shortly
wrong.
they're going to start calling people the next Stetson Bennett. Just saying,
As they should.
as they should.
Um, but yeah, he had 212 passing yards, 100 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns in this game. It was the largest margin of victory in the history of the war on I-4, which, again, if you go back and listen to the last episode, they're not playing anymore because of UCF's move to the Big 12, which sucks.
It
It was
does.
the best name of a rivalry, arguably the best name for a rivalry, the war on I-4.
The best non-SEC name, I'll give it that,
Yeah. Oh,
because
sure.
world's largest outdoor cocktail party, the Deep South's
Awesome.
oldest rivalry, third
Awesome.
Saturday in October.
Mm, good old fashioned clean hate or whatever.
Yep. You know,
Mix up my words.
the Egg Bowl,
Yeah, of course.
because it makes no sense unless you know the history of it.
Hmm.
So, you
Yeah.
know, the SEC, while they are the best team or the best conference in college football and baseball, arguably the deepest in basketball, they also have the best names for rivalries. So,
Yeah.
the best non
They don't
SEC rivalry.
they don't need stupid trophies like the Big Ten for every Big Ten
Week.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um Although, like, who was it that did the God, what the hell, the civil conflict? Who was that? Was that UCF and UConn? I don't know.
I know that.
I think they
Okay, the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State,
that's cool.
elite
I
name,
like that. Yes.
elite name. Um, but civil conflict, I don't know who that is. I'll do
I
some
think it's
research.
I think it was UConn in one of the directional Florida teams, I believe.
I'll
It
keep going. I'll keep
UConn
looking it up.
UConn and UCF. That's who it was. Civil conflict. No
Uh,
more.
that is a cool name. Needs a better second team other than UCF.
Right. Or UConn. Better than UConn sucks.
Give me a UCF, or just, I know we're way off topic again. I would apologize, but I think you guys like us talking about random shit. Give me a inter or an intra state Florida game every year, because they have arguably the most teams of any state that are constantly relevant.
Hmm.
Give me a game between whoever, it's like the Commander in Chief's trophy for the service academies, but
Yeah.
it's just a between the state of Florida game for the civil conflict.
It was like the Florida Man Trophy.
Florida Man trophy.
And it could be like
Make it a golden meth pipe. Boom.
winter. And you know how like Ohio State has like golden pants for like when they beat Michigan, they can have like jorts. That'd be cool.
I I did not know that Ohio State had that for when they beat Michigan.
It's pretty gay. I don't understand it.
Yep,
The story
not
behind it.
great, not great. But like golden jorts, that's
Oh,
acceptable.
yeah.
But I will say, Fourth of July week is the week to pull out the jorts. I can tell
Yes.
you, I will be wearing my cutoff overalls this week.
Hell yeah.
I got some cutoff overalls that it's too hot, my balls fall out the bottom. They're cut off so short. But
Gucci Daddy cut off
a-
overalls.
absolutely no
Oh
shirt
yeah.
under them. You can't wear a shirt under them.
Yeah, right.
But that's we're way too far off topic. We gotta finish this.
Oh no, we're gonna go off the rails again with this one. So Nevada, however you want to say it, um, went to Boise State. Boise won 69 to 67 in regulation. Regulation.
Hell yes.
Yeah, right.
If this is on YouTube, I'm watching it tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. Could I'm sure it has to be on there.
It has to be a
I
nice game to watch.
very nice. Some would say. We would say. I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it besides just the score. That was just worth noting. Um, all right, last two here. And kind of sort of did a deep dive on this, so get kind of sort of serious for a second. Arizona at number 10, USC. This is Mark Sanchez's first career start at Southern Cal. The year prior to this, I'm sorry, not the year prior. In the summer, he broke his thumb before the season, so but he was still the starter up until this point. In 2006, apparently Sanchez was arrested and accused of assault, but there weren't any charges made. I'm sorry, not made. Any charges filed by the DA in Compton there. He received team discipline for underage drinking and having a fake ID, but never was formally charged with anything. So he had to kind of lay low a little bit longer than I think Pete Carroll wanted him to, which is probably for the best, even though he was like a top 3 pick.
Yeah, if trying to find a way to word this to say it, but not necessarily dance around the subject. If you happen to be a man listening to this, which I assume most of you are, um,
Well, who
don't
knows now?
just treat women with respect. Like it's not difficult.
Don't put yourself in a situation. I tell my middle school like football players that all the time. I'm like, don't put yourself in a situation. Just
Well,
don't.
yeah, like if you treat every single person you come in contact with respect as a human being, you get yourself out of a lot of shitty situations.
Yep.
And I really feel like that should be the end of the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or assholes about it.
Yeah.
Just treat other human beings with the respect they deserve as human beings.
Yeah. I don't think that's too much to ask, even if you're the quarterback of USC.
I I just a a joke about USC came into my mind. I will not make it. I will text it to you.
Okay.
Um,
And I'll say it. No.
no, no,
No.
don't say it, but it is funny.
Okay.
Ooh, I about sent that to the wrong person.
While you're doing that, USC was actually down in this game 13-10 until Joel McKnight, which he was supposed to be the next Reggie Bush. Like he was like I think like the number one recruit coming out of high school that year. That it is. That's one thing USC could stand for. Um uh any RIP Joel McKnight.
He would probably appreciate the joke.
Yeah, yeah. But goddamn. Joel McKnight he had a long punt return to set up the first career pass by Mark Sanchez, Mr. Butt Fumble himself. USC ended up pulling this game out 20-13.
To prevent their second straight loss.
Yeah, I don't know if they drop in this game, but they fucking should have because Arizona was like the bottom of the Pac-10 at this point, so they should have dropped. All right, last game again, this had nothing to do with anything because neither team was good, but I just thought it was worth noting. TCU was at Stanford. TCU won 38-36. TCU had Andy Dalton at this point, which again, I thought he played before this, it felt
I
like, but I
thought he
guess
paid way later than this.
really.
Played.
Because he,
Yeah,
I don't know, because he was Bryce Young's backup this past season, right? I think,
I think
or in New
so.
Orleans.
To me, he just seems like a 2012 quarterback. I know it's not accurate, but like in my head,
Yeah,
that's what it seems. Even though I know that he wasn't.
right.
That's two and two makes six in this situation. He's a 2012 quarterback.
Yeah. So that Red Rocket, he had 344 yard touchdowns, another rushing touchdown. So I mean, he was really good for TCU. Like I want to say he was the quarterback for a team that went undefeated. I want to say in 2008, 2009. I think. I
Andy
can't remember.
Dalton.
Yeah, I think so. Like he was a really really good college quarterback. Um, and I mean I guess I could be totally making that up. I'm pretty sure he was though, but that can come up later. Not this year because TCU was ass, but um, really the only reason why I put this game down was I thought this was Jim Harbaugh and Andrew Luck, but Andrew Luck wasn't there yet. This was like you mentioned, like early series was Harbaugh's first year in uh, Stanford. I can't say the name right now. Um, I thought he had Andrew Luck, but he didn't yet, not quite yet. But Stanford did have Richard Sherman's All Pro, DB in the NFL. Had him at wide receiver. He had 4 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown. So,
You know what they say about cornerbacks? They're wide receivers that can't catch. So
but I mean, Richard could though, at least in college.
he could catch 4 passes and run.
Yeah, I guess that's what that says. Yeah, because I don't know, they didn't have a quarterback at that point, so it could have been like screen and just go. I want to say his longest reception in this game was like 40 yards, but I'm sure that was like a tunnel screen or some shit like that. He just took off. I
Yeah.
don't know though. Who knows?
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for part. Damn it,
Five.
I said it. 5
Yeah, I think five.
of our series about 2007. I know we went way off the rails and we've gone way longer than we intended to. Um, I I'll take fault for that. I having fun, like we tell you guys to do. Um,
It's Fourth of
but
July.
it's 4th of July. Happy fucking America Day.
Oh yeah.
Um,
What the fuck's a kilometer?
what the fuck is a kilometer? But also, since Oklahoma and Texas have been in the SEC for 4 days now, um, fuck a wagon and horns down, and God
Where
bless America.
where where is even the University of Texas? Like where? I have no idea.
I don't know. They call themselves UT. Um,
Oh, like in the infection.
that's UTI.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You don't.
I,
Okay. Okay. This is news to me. I'm learning right now.
I would love to know what a longhorn cattle tastes like. I'd love to have a longhorn ribeye. Um,
Their mascot's named after a steakhouse.
yes, it is
Oh,
actually.
that's kind of cool. Like a chain. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're nationwide. You can actually eat their mascot in chain restaurants around the country.
Hmm. And they're proud of that.
I guess.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of
Noted.
weird.
No, noted. I've never. Oh, okay. All right.
I've never eaten a bulldog. Have you?
Not knowingly. No, no, not that I know of.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Um,
I would
but
imagine they're not good.
but you know what? I'm not even gonna go through the normal stuff. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
God bless America. Happy Independence Day. And always remember there's nothing finer in the land.
And a drunken, obnoxious Georgia fan.